Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The ISUPK, under Commanding General Yahana, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and war like apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So then you said that they put millions of my actions. Yes, you said. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacle sat in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cages, safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood cell. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is dish served cold, I just hope they make an oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. That was designed fire for our babies to pass through in the day of our king's reign. I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
All right. Shalom, Israel. Salaki. All right. Shalom, Israel. That's the ISUPK. Started 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commanding General Yohana. This is Thursday night scripture breakdown class. If you got a question? You got any questions? If anybody online have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll answer all questions. The topic of tonight's class, is how to deal with grief. The point of the topic, rather, is dealing with grief. Go ahead. Grief is what you experience whenever you lose somebody. When somebody passes away, when somebody dies, that feeling you feel, that sadness, is called grief. Yeah, something tragic happened to somebody that you love, or something that you love, because it could be your dog. You can grieve. You'll grieve. The feeling that you feel in the sadness is called grief. It's something that we are meant to experience, meant to go through, and meant to deal with. Unfortunately, some people, they get lost in the grief. So there's a proper way to grieve, and then there's an improper way to grieve, right? What do you think the improper way to grieve would be? If something bad happens to you, how long are you supposed to just stay sad forever?
I mean, you got like you can't forget about something or someone that you love. You can't forget about whoever it is. You can't forget about someone or something, but you still got to move on. But you can't forget.
You're absolutely right. The proper way to grieve is to give yourself time to feel it. Let yourself cry, let yourself hurt and be hurt, and experience that with the people that you love, so that y'all can together pull yourselves up out of that hurt, you know? And a lot of times people get lost in the grief. That's why I said there's an improper way to grieve. And that's the improper way, when you get to hurting and then you lock yourself in a room, you know what I'm saying? You lock yourself away. That's the improper way to grieve. No matter how bad it hurts, you have to continue on living, so that the person who's not here no more, you know what I'm saying, they didn't pass in vain. They passed the torch on to you. Whatever that torch may be, you just got to keep going. If that torch is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and being in the truth, and being the best brother or sister that you can be, then that means that you got to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't stop because we lost somebody. You got to keep on going. But at the same time, it's definitely necessary. It's almost mandatory that we come together and we learn to grieve together, learn to hurt together, experience pain together, and learn to deal with pain together. Because that's the only thing that's going to pull you through grief. You know what I'm saying? When you was little and you fell and you scraped your knee, when you was riding your bike, you needed somebody to come pick you up and help you clean yourself up, right? That's the same thing. That same thing is true about grief. When you hurting after losing somebody, you need somebody to help you be okay, to help you see that it's going to be okay, for you to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Salakia. But yeah, for you to keep going, so you don't just stay there in the hurt. You look confused. You want to say something? You got a question?
What you just said actually happened to you. So
Tell me about it.
that actually happened.
Did it? Yeah, it happened to a lot of us, man. Especially when you're learning how to ride a bike, you're learning how to do anything. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna hurt yourself, or something bad is gonna happen, and you're gonna need people around you that you can trust with your feelings, so that you can express your feelings, and it can help you work through them feelings, so that you can be better at the end of it. You get what I'm saying? All right. Again, if anybody in the chat got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I answer all questions. So we're gonna start with the book of where do I want to start? I'm gonna start by talking about the comfort, right? So there's a comfort that the Lord provides us. There's a comfort that the Lord provides us when we're going through heartache. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said that He wants a broken and contrite heart. A broken and contrite heart, meaning somebody whose spirit is so, they've been through so much that they ready to full blown ready to serve the Most High. We acknowledge our wickedness. We acknowledge how evil we have been throughout life and how much we've messed up throughout life, and now we're ready to serve the Most High. That's a real broken and contrite heart. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it takes, you're going to serve the Lord so you can get the kingdom. That's a broken and contrite heart. The heart that repents from the sin that we was committing, right? And so the scriptures talk about that, and they also talk about how the Lord will comfort us when we present that broken and contrite heart to him. He accepts that from us. It's basically what I'm saying. It's like, now you done been beaten down so bad by life. Now it's time for me to help you heal. That's what it's saying, right? So we're going to read it. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38 and verse 16. Now, so you understand the book of Ecclesiasticus is in the Apocrypha, and it's wisdom from a father talking to his son. He's teaching his son the things he needs to know to be a man, right? It says, "My son, let tears fall down over the dead." So he's telling his son to allow himself to cry. Oftentimes, us as men, we hold our feelings back. We be hurting on the inside and we don't say nothing. And that could lead to a lot of bad things. You know what a powder keg is? A powder keg is like, imagine go ahead.
It's like crying over things.
A powder keg. Imagine you got a barrel full of gunpowder, right? And it's on a boat, and the boat getting swaying on the water, swaying and swaying and swaying. Now, what happens if it sways too much and that powder keg full of gunpowder hits something and a spark go into it? What's gonna happen?
It's a boat. It's made out of wood. It's definitely gonna catch on fire.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up. That's what'll happen to you if you keep your feelings inside. You know what I'm saying? And this is what Ecclesiasticus is about. Ecclesiasticus 38 specifically is about. He's telling his son to allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to grieve and mourn for the people that you done lost. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep going. It says, "My son, let tears fall down over the dead." So it's okay to cry over the people that die, and begin to lament, as if thou hadst suffered great harm thyself. This is the proper way to mourn. You gotta let yourself feel it. You know what I'm saying? Experience the loss and consider that you're experiencing the loss together with your people. You know what I'm saying? With your other brothers and sisters, that you're not alone in the loss that you're experiencing. Right? It says, "And then cover his body according to the custom and neglect not his burial." So after we grieve and mourn the loss of our brother, the loss of our loved one, we also have to make sure that we give him a proper burial. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures in our culture, we have a way that we do our funeral service, what we call a funeral service. Well, so-called funeral service, right? But we put our loved ones away in the ground. You know what I'm saying? We make sure that they're going away is honorable. You know what I'm saying? We don't just throw them in a box and throw it in the ground and cover it with dirt. You know what I'm saying? We give them an honorable send-off, right? We consider all of the work that they've done in the truth, all the work that they've done for the Most High, all the bricks they've put in, and then we consider the fact that they'll be back because we believe in regeneration. They're going to come back later on. You know what I'm saying? They'll be back eventually, whenever the Lord see fit. Verse 17, "Weep bitterly, make a great moan, and use lamentation, as he is worthy, and that a day or two, lest thou be evil spoken of." So now it's saying, allow yourself to cry, and make sure when you cry about it, make sure you're crying some sincere tears about the person that you lost. You know what I'm saying? That you're missing, because he's worth them tears. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold them back, because if you do hold them back, it said, lest people speak. It says, lest thou be evil spoken of, meaning unless you want people to lie on you and say you ain't really care about him, when you know deep down you really did care about that person. You know what I'm saying? It says, "And then comfort thyself for thy heaviness." Verse 18, "For of heaviness," meaning of sadness, right? "For of heaviness cometh death, and the heaviness of the heart breaketh strength." That part right there is heavy because a lot of us men, we feel like we just so strong and we gotta be so tough and we gotta be so ready to deal with everything. Like we gotta be almost like robots. But this verse right here is telling us to allow ourselves to feel. Because if we don't, all that strength gonna go away. You're gonna lose that strength. In times of grief, that strength is supposed to go away so that you can mourn, so that you can hurt. The reason why it needs to go away is because there's other people that's in your family, you have friends, and you have other loved ones that need for that strength to go away so that they can feel that grief and grieve with you. That's why I started the class off talking about that way, that to begin with. Because when we together, when we grieve together, it makes the pain of loss a little bit easier to bear. It makes it easier to deal with, even though loss is hard. But in order to stay to keep from staying in the loss, from staying in the pain, you need people around you that feel what you feel, that can feel what you feel, so that they can help you pull yourself up out of that. And also so you can help them pull themselves up out of that. Right? Verse 19. In affliction also sorrow remaineth, and the life of the poor is the curse of the heart. In affliction also sorrow remaineth, meaning when we afflicted with pain and suffering, you know what I'm saying, there's much sorrow to be there. No matter how much time we give it, the sorrow and the still gonna be there. The pain and the feeling is still gonna be there. So lucky. Yeah, the pain and the feeling is still gonna be there. Verse it's lucky. It says, and the life of the poor is the curse of the heart. Meaning people in poverty, they when they experience pain, it's like a curse. When they experience loss, it's a curse of the heart. Right? Verse 20. Take no heaviness to heart. Drive it away and remember the last end. Verse 21. Forget it not, for there is no turning again. Thou shalt not do him good, but hurt thyself. It says, forget it not, for there is no turning again. Thou shalt not do him good, but hurt thyself. Meaning that after we lose somebody, once you put them down, put them in the ground, you mourn, you grieve, you have to get up and keep on moving. You have to continue to keep doing the work of the Lord. You have to continue coming to class. You got to get up and keep going to school and getting good grades. You got to get up and keep going forward. You have to keep moving forward because you're not going to you sitting there in the pain and the suffering is not doing nothing to help the person you lost. They're gone already. Now it's about you. You're just hurting yourself. You're missing opportunities. You're losing weight. Your hair falling out because you're stressed, and your eyes bloodshot red, and you losing connections that you could have had and could have made, all because you get stuck in grief. Grief can kill you. You know what I'm saying? Too much, too long, staying in grief can hurt you. Go ahead. A broken heart can kill you. When you sit there and you get depressed, and when you grieve for so long, grief is a part of depression. Well, depression rather is a part of grief. To be sad, but when you stay there and it gets worse and worse, you'll stop eating and stuff. Your health will start to deteriorate, and next thing you know, you'll be then passed away from grief. You'll die from a heart attack, not heart attack, but from heartbreak. Verse 22. Remember my judgment, for thine also shall be so. Yesterday for me, and today for thee. Verse 23. When the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest, and be comforted for him when his spirit is departed from him. Meaning that once your loved one is gone, don't go back to mourning. Once you get past the grieving stage in the morning, once the mourning is over, don't go back into that stage. Remember the good times, remember the laughs, remember the excellent class the brother might have taught, remember the excellent memories y'all had together, but don't dwell in the past. Don't live in the memory. You know what I'm saying? That's what that verse is saying. And it says, when his spirit is departed, it said, and be comforted for him when his spirit is departed from him. That part right there, being comforted for him while his spirit, when his spirit is departed from him, is talking about him, his spirit leaving his body. So he's not experiencing pain no more. He's not experiencing this evil world. He don't have to endure sin no more, or desire to maybe sin, to deal with none of that no more. He's free from that because he with the Most High now, because he done passed. You know what I'm saying? So that whole chapter right there, that whole part of that chapter is about giving peace of mind and spirit to brothers and sisters who lose people. Because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's definitely going to happen. But you can't stay there in the pain. You can't stay there in the hurt. You got to take it head on, face it head on, deal with the grief, and then move past the pain. The only way you're going to, it's not going to get, it's the only way it's going to get easier is by you accepting it. You have to first accept it and then be ready to just move forward. Right? I'm going to give some more comfort scriptures with dealing with grief. This is Psalms chapter 34, and I'm going to start at verse 18. It says, the Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart. Meaning when you have a broken heart, the Lord is with you. It says, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. When your heart is broken and your spirit is contrite, meaning when you've made up your mind that, you know what I'm saying, things ain't going the way you want them to go, you're not happy with your life the way it is, your heart is broken, meaning your mind is in a different space now. Now it's not on the drugs. Your mind ain't on the games. Your mind ain't on the women. Your mind ain't on the money. You know what I'm saying? Your focus is broken from them things. It's freed from them things. It says, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. So now that your mind is freed from that, your spirit starts to step into the light. Who you really are on the inside starts to show. And that person on the inside starts to seek the Most High. That's just naturally how we are. And it says the Lord is nigh unto them of a broken heart. So when you got that broken heart, when you get to that point where it's like, damn, Father, I done tried everything else to do. I'm ready to just go the way you want me to go. And then next thing you know, a UPK brother pass by you and give you a flyer. Or you just happen to see on your phone the ISUPK video pop up. That's the sign that right there, that's where you're supposed to go. That's when you know the Lord is really with you, because he'll start pulling you towards him. Right? Verse 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all. So even us in the truth, we deal with affliction, we deal with suffering, we deal with hurt, we deal with loss, and we deal with pain. And we deal with it a lot, actually. It says, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all, meaning the Lord won't allow us to stay in that feeling of hurt. He brings us up out of that. He gives us peace of spirit, peace in our spirit and peace in our mind from our grief and from our anguish, from our affliction. Verse 20, he keepeth all his bones, not one of them is broken. Verse 21, evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate. Now, this part is important because there's people who have bad things to say to people who even start to grieve, right? There's people who say they're your friends, and then there are people who are your friends. There are people who say that they your brother, and then there are people who show you that they're your brother, right? A friend is, what is a friend for?
Friend is for like for so you can have someone to talk to, explain your feelings to, stuff like that.
And not just those things, but to go through things with. Like I said earlier, remember? Somebody that you can go through all the hardest times in your life with. The things when you really are hurt and you need somebody to talk to, something to lean on, somebody to lean on. That's why the ISUPK is so important, especially to me, because I got my brothers in here. I got my brothers to lean on. So when I get down, when I get sad, when I get to hurting, you know what I'm saying? I got people I can talk to. You know what I'm saying? They help me get my stuff together, get things back into perspective. And it's the same thing for all of us in here, including you. You can talk to anybody in this school, you know what I'm saying? And we'll help each other out, right? But like I was saying, there are cases though where there are people who aren't your friends for those positive reasons, right? There are people who say they're your friends, and there are people who are your friends. These are people, they're about to go over people who say they're your friend, but they're not really your friend. Go ahead.
Hey, it's some Mexicans at my school. They boys, right? They have a group. They they say I'm in their group, but they don't really show me. Like if if somebody says they my friend, they gotta show me that they're my friend.
Exactly. And you gotta let them show you that they're your friend. But if they don't show you that they're your friend, then you just gotta stay to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You still be a good brother to them, but you don't need to be all in everybody's face. Let them show you that they really your friends, whatever that, you know what I'm saying, whatever that group, what was the group? What is group about? You mean like their friend group? Or teach you Spanish? Oh, that's good. So that's called brotherhood right there. That's good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm about to show you somebody who said that they was friends with a brother, but really they wasn't his friend based on what they said, right? So it's the book of Job, chapter 1. I'm sorry, chapter 4, and we're gonna start at verse 1. First of all, do you know who Job is? Okay, so Job is a brother who was perfect. He was perfect in the eyes of the Most High. He followed the law, statutes, and commandments perfectly. He didn't sin, and the Lord made him rich and wealthy. He protected him, right? Well, Satan came and said, uh, I'm sorry, yeah, Satan came and the Lord asked him if he tried his servant Job, meaning has he tested Job's spirit? Satan said that I can't test him because you protect him. So the Lord let Satan do whatever he wanted to do to Job to destroy his life. He just couldn't kill him. And so one of the things that happened to Job was that Satan killed Job's children. You know what I'm saying? And his wife. And so now you're about to read about what happened after that. This is after that happened. Job was mourning. He was grieving, right? So we're going to read it. It says, Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, so Eliphaz, this is a white man. He answered Job and said, verse 2, if we essay to commune with thee, wilt thou be grieved? Meaning if we come over here with you, come over here and kick it with you, you're going to be crying, you're going to be grieving. But who can withhold himself from speaking? Verse 3, behold, thou hast instructed many and hast strengthened the weak hands. It's like it. And thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Meaning he done made brothers, he done made men's hands strong because he had so much influence and so much wealth. He was a man of renown, you know what I'm saying? He gave other men stature and other men the ability to gain stature, right? But right now he's grieving, he done lost. Verse 4, thy words have upholden them that was falling, and thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. So he's talking again about how Job was a mighty and a righteous brother, and he done encourage other brothers to be strong, be mighty, and be righteous. Right? Verse 5. But now it is come upon thee, and thou faintest. It toucheth thee, and thou art troubled. Talking about how Job's family done been taken away from him by Satan. Job was grieving, even though he was mighty, even though he was great, and he had done such amazing things according to this devil. Job, once that pain came, that suffering came, all that strength went away. That's why we read Ecclesiastes chapter 36 first, because it talked about that earlier. Do you remember? About how your strength will turn into weakness during the time of grief. And that's exactly what happened with Job right here, right? Verse 6. It is is not this thy fear, thy confidence, thy hope, and thy uprightness of and the uprightness of thy ways? Verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where was the righteous cut off? So now this man is telling Job, he's asking Job a question. What man has died that didn't deserve to die? He was being very inconsiderate, very evil, and very unbrotherly towards Job. He's supposed to be Job's friend, and he professing to be Job's friend. He comes to Job and he asks him, well, people die, B. Whoever died that didn't deserve to die. Saying that Job's sons, his daughters, his family, his wife, all of them deserve to die. And that's the type of friend that you're not supposed to have, because they'll lead you to that bad type of grief, that improper way to grieve. Instead of helping you through the grief, they'll push you further into the grief and push you towards the depression. Go ahead.
It's like um mm, um it's like someone that think that's actually your friend. He's leading you through
Mhm.
something bad that can happen to lead you to grief.
So it's deeper than that. He almost there, but what this is talking about is somebody who say they're your friend, but then when you grieving, they come and make the grief harder. You're already at the grief, and now you're trying to get past the grief, and they come and they make the grief harder. They make it worse. Your feelings are already hurt, and they're gonna make your feelings hurt even more. You know what I'm saying? That's more so what this is talking about. All right. So there's people, you got to be careful who you allow in your life. And that's why it's important to be like, stay locked in here into the truth. Because in the truth, we're all family here. We all friends here. You know what I'm saying? We all lean on each other, look out for each other. When our feelings get to hurting, when we got things going on, that's why we have counsel set up so that you don't have to experience that grief by yourself. You have a camp leader that you can go to if you got to talk to somebody. So you don't have to figure it out on your own and go through it on your own and experience the pain and the hurt on your own. You got brothers here that's going to lead you to the proper way to grieve. We want you to feel the pain. We want you to experience the suffering, and then we're going to help you move past it whenever it's time for you to really get ready to move past it, right? To help you pull yourself back up so you can get your strength back. But there's a friend that claims to be your friend that's not your friend. They're gonna keep you in the grief. They're gonna make the grieving harder. They're gonna make you suffer harder because that's what their spirit is. That's what they're designed to do. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we're in the truth. Our afflictions are many. Like the scripture said, our afflictions are many. And one of our afflictions is untrustworthy people. We are afflicted with the curse of dealing with untrustworthy people as far as our feelings go. So now as men, we taught to hold it in, bottle it up, be strong, be tough. You don't get to feel, you don't get to cry. And then you lose somebody. And now you hear about reports about people going on the news unaliving people. You know what I'm saying? People committing acts of murder and violence because they done lost somebody. Good.
It's like it's like when you go through grief, you think like you might go crazy.
There's a possibility you could go crazy if you go through grief and you stay in the grief. That's what I was talking about earlier. When you stay in the grief, something like that will happen. Or like I said, you'll die from a broken heart. The grief is heavy, and it don't just disappear. You have to go through it and experience it. It's part of it is acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Accepting that the person that you wanted to still be here ain't here no more, and accepting that there ain't nothing you can do, and also accepting that at some point you're gonna have to move on with life, continue fighting, because that person can't fight no more. So you got to fight for both of y'all now. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot here. We jump to Psalms 147 and 3. It's a book of Psalms, chapter 147 and verse 3. It says, He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds. That's what the Most High does. When we get to hurting and our feelings get to hurting and our hearts is broken, the Lord heals us up. But like I said earlier, that's what He wants for us. The pride got to go away. The the feeling that I'm okay and I can do whatever I want to, all that has to go away. The old man has to die before the All right, Salaki, y'all. We had technical difficulty. For some reason, the mic went mute on me. But yeah. So whenever you experiencing hurt and experiencing pain, the Lord will bring you up out of that. But it's gonna require that you go through the pain. You know what I'm saying? You have to first experience it. Because if you got a big head and you think ain't nothing gonna happen to me, that can never be me. The Lord gonna show you that that can definitely be you. You gonna get to hurting. You gonna experience pain. You gonna experience suffering. You gonna experience loss. And you got two options at that point. Option one, you can humble yourself and pray to the Most High to help pull you through it. Let your heart be broken. Or option two, you can still stay big headed, stay prideful, think that you got it, think you're gonna make it through whatever the situation is without no help from the Lord or nobody else, and think you tough. And you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna pay for it. Because you're gonna keep experiencing the crap over and over and over, and it's gonna keep happening. All your suffering ain't never gonna stop. It's just gonna continue. Because you don't have a broken heart. Your heart ain't broken enough. It ain't contrite enough. So now the Lord got to continue to show you what it really means to suffer before he can show you that he can heal you. Right? We're gonna drop that. Uh we're gonna go to Psalms chapter 30 and verse 4. It says, "Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness." Verse 5. "For his anger endureth for but a moment." So if you do things to make the Lord angry with you, he gonna be angry with you, but it's only gonna be for a short time. Just long enough for you to bump your head and realize, dang, I bumped my head. It's time for me to really settle down, get my stuff together. Right? But it's like it says, it's like it says for his verse 5, "For his anger endureth but a moment. In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning." So after the pain and the suffering is done and over with, like I said, the Lord will bring you through that. And on the other side of that, after all the tears is cried, then there's gonna be joy. There ain't gonna be no sadness infinitely, you know. There's not gonna be no continual sorrow for us. The Lord the Christ talked about the comforter. The point of the comforter was to come and teach us remembrance of all things. That remembrance of all things is remembrance of who we are, how to serve our God, as well as our culture. Salakia. Yeah, Salakia. But it's who we are, how to serve our God, as well as our culture. And part of our culture is knowing our God, like I say, and how he would have us deal with grief the proper way, right? We'll drop that and go down to verse 11. "Thou hast turned me from my mourning into dancing, and girded me with gladness." So after we done been through the mourning process, the stage of grief and all the anger and the hurt, the tears dry up, and we done moved on to the acceptance part, then we start to remember the happy times, the happy memories, the good times that we had with each other while that person was still here. You know what I'm saying? We start to think about the smile that they had on their face every time something was said or certain jokes was made. You know what I'm saying? The fun things we did together and all the hard work we did together. That's your heart being filled with gladness now after you done been grieving. I'm going to read it again. Verse 11. "Thou hast turned me from my mourning into dancing." So while you was sad, crying, and you was hurting before, now you up and you dancing around. You able to walk a little faster. You able to stand more straight, more upright. You know what I'm saying? Because the Lord gave you peace. He gave you comfort in your hurt. It says, "Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness." Now, the reason why I said sackcloth, do you know what sackcloth is? Sackcloth is like a potato sack. It's like when you imagine when you sick, right? Instead of going to school and putting your fly school clothes on, you sit in bed in your pajamas. That's like being in sackcloth. That's what being in sackcloth is like, rather, Slakia. It says, "Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness," meaning My depression is done now. My sadness is done. My mourning is done. Now it's time for me to be happy. Now it's time for me to be glad because I'm still here. I'm still here to do this work. I'm still here with you. I got you in class with me. You know what I'm saying? So even though my brother ain't here, my other brothers is here. I'm not alone. I'm surrounded by my brothers. I'm surrounded by my family. Shalom Christ. I'm surrounded by my family. I'm surrounded by my brothers. So I don't have to dwell in my grief. I can move past my grief and see that the sun is still gonna shine. You know what I'm saying? The sun gonna rise in the morning. It's gonna be oxygen for me to breathe. It's gonna be food for me to eat, and I'm gonna be alive. You know what I'm saying? Those things are all still true, no matter what. At the end of the day, right? Verse 12. To the end that my glory may sing praise to thee, and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. We give thanks unto the Most High forever for giving us mercy and giving us peace through our hurt and through our pain. That we don't have to stay in the pain. We can move on from it and continue to live, continue to be alive. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to dwell in the pain or in the hurt, right? Because there's brothers who try to do that in the scriptures, right? You got the brother Ezekiel. Let me pull that real quick. Do you know anything about Ezekiel? Slakia. Ezekiel was one of the Lord's prophets. It's Ezekiel. Slakia. Let me find it. Slakia. Dang, I can't find it. Hold on. Salakia. It's Ezekiel 24 and 17, I think. Let me see. Ezekiel chapter 24 and verse 17. Okay, God. So we're going to start at verse. We'll start at verse 10. It says, then set it empty upon the coals thereof, that the brass may be hot. So I'm going to jump down. So this is talking about a order that Ezekiel was given, right? Verse 12, she hath wearied herself with lies, and her great scum went forth, not, it's like it went not forth out of her. Her scum shall be in the fire. Talking about, it's like it, talking about Ezekiel's wife, right? So Ezekiel was super, super, super in love with his wife. He was a prophet of the Lord and he did the work of the Lord, but he was mad in love with his wife, right? She was the apple of his eye. She was his main focus at one point, to where he was focusing less on the truth and more on his wife. So the Lord is telling him about his wife now, right? So this is verse 13. And thy filthiness is lewdness, because I have purged thee, and thou was not purged. Thou shalt not be purged from thy filthiness any more, till I have caused my fury to rest upon thee. So because Ezekiel was sitting so infatuated with his wife, so in love with his wife, that he was putting her before the work of the Lord, before the Most High, the Lord said, I'm not going to take my anger away from you. You're going to feel this hurt. You know what I'm saying? Your focus is so focused on something else. Imagine you going to school, right? And you getting good grades. And then the new video game come out. And so your pops gets you the new video game. Now you at home playing the video game. You're not doing your homework no more. Your grades start to go down. So now, what your pops going to do? He going to take the video game away, right? That's exactly what's about to happen here with Ezekiel. The Lord going to take his wife away. It says, verse 14, I, the Lord, have spoken it. It shall come to pass, and I will do it. I will not go back, neither will I spare, neither will I repent. According to thy ways and according to thy doings shall they judge thee, saith the Lord God. The Lord, or it's like, yeah, the Lord is telling Ezekiel, I'm about to punish you for not doing my work, for putting something before me. Because we're supposed to love the Most High God with all our heart, with all our soul, with all of our might. That's supposed to be our focus. But Ezekiel's focus wasn't serving the Most High. His focus was his wife. That was his main priority. That was the main thing that he was worried about. That so much so that his job, his actual responsibility to the Lord, the oath that he took was starting to get put to the wayside. So the Lord said, I'm gonna punish you for it. Verse 15. Also the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, verse 16, Son of man, talking about Ezekiel, behold, I take away the desire of thine eyes with a stroke. Do you know what that means? What am I talking about right now? It's okay. So I'm talking about Ezekiel, right? And he's in love with his wife more than the truth.
I was getting what he about to say. What do you mean by stroke?
A stroke, a stroke is what happens uh when you, let me look at the definition of a stroke and tell you the right way. A stroke is something that happens to you with your heart. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get you the definition of a stroke. What? It's trash phone, Salakia. Let me do it this phone. So the definition of a stroke is like a brain attack. It says a medical emergency that occurs when blood flow to the part of the brain is interrupted, depriving the brain tissue of oxygen and nutrients. So basically, it's like a heart attack, but in your brain. Basically, that's what he did to Ezekiel's wife. He killed Ezekiel's wife because Ezekiel was putting her before the Most High. We're not allowed to do that. We can love people. We're supposed to love each other. And you can love somebody a whole lot. You're supposed to love your wife a whole lot. But you don't never put your wife before the Lord. And this is an example of why you shouldn't do that. But this ain't the main reason why we're here, because of him putting his wife before the Lord. We're here because he went to grieve about the fact that the Lord took his wife from him. Now, I told you there's a proper way to grieve and there's an improper way to grieve. There's a time and a season for everything. And Ezekiel, being a prophet, a priest and prophet of the Lord, he didn't get to grief. Not for a long time, because he still had work to do. So I'm going to keep reading. It says, verse 16, Son of man, behold, I take away from thee the desire of thine eyes with a stroke. And yet neither shalt thou mourn nor weep, neither shall tears run down, shall thy tears run down. Verse 17, forbear to cry, make no mourning for the dead. Bind the mitre upon thy head, bind the mitre of thine head upon thee, and put on thy shoes upon thy feet, and cover not thy lips, and eat not the bread of men. So the Lord told Ezekiel, you don't get to cry. You don't get to mourn. You don't get to take time off. No, I took her from you because you weren't doing my work, because you put her before me. So now you're going to go and pick up where I had you leave off and go and do this work. And you don't get to stop. And you don't get to cry. You don't get to mourn. You don't get to grieve. Nothing. You're going to continue to do this work. That was what the commandment from the Lord was for Ezekiel. And he didn't have a choice but to accept it, because it was something that he brought upon himself and he brought upon his wife. He got her unalive because he made her his primary focus. And so instead of being allowed to sit in that grief, the Lord told him, nah, you're going to suffer this grief, then you're going to get up and you're going to go and do this work. So there's a proper way to grieve and there's an improper way to grieve. Now, can he grieve later on after the work is done?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Salakia. Dang, smoke done got me. But yeah, he can. He can always just go and grieve after the work of the Lord is done. But the Lord gave him orders. He told him what he needed him to do. And instead of doing those things, he started to put his wife first. So the Lord had to take her away. Right? But after that, there's no staying in the depression, staying in the sadness. That's what we was reading about earlier in Job. It was important for us to have people around us to help us deal with grief and deal with loss, because that's what would have happened. Right? Salakia. Let me go back. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 57, and I'm going to start at verse 15. It says, "For thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit." So that's the spirit that you're supposed to have. That's the type of heart you're supposed to have, a contrite and humble spirit. You know what I'm saying? So when we lose people, that pain, that feeling of loss we have, in order for us to be pulled up out of that, we got to be surrounded by our brothers and sisters, but we also have to have a humble enough spirit and heart to acknowledge that we are hurting so that we can move out of that pain. The Lord said that he's with those people, right? We read it earlier. It says to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. So after your heart has been broken, after you done experienced that pain, that grief, that suffering, the Lord is going to be right there with you to revive you, to make you back whole. Remember how we read earlier, how it said that you took away my sadness and now I'm dancing? This is exactly what it's talking about. It's a precept for this right here. Verse 16. For I will contend forever. For I will not contend forever, neither will I always be wroth. The Lord is saying that he's not going to chase after us with anger, and neither is he going to be angry with us forever. For the spirit should fail before me, and the souls which I have made. Verse 17. For the iniquity of his covetousness I was wroth and smote him. Meaning that whenever we was doing wicked and foul and evil things, the Lord was angry with us and he made us to suffer. I hid me and I was wroth. I hid me and was wroth, meaning he was angry. And he went on forwardly in the way of his heart. Verse 18. I have seen his ways and will heal him. I will lead him also and restore comforts unto him and to his mourners. So all of the people that we lose in our regular life, in the world we done lost, that since we done came into the truth that we done lost, the Lord is going to heal us and restore comfort to us, as well as he's going to heal and restore comfort to us, so that our mourning is gone and passed from us. That's why we read earlier, the Lord said he's going to turn our mourning into dancing. You know what I'm saying? We won't be made to suffer indefinitely. We won't be left to feel just indefinite pain and suffering forever. You know what I'm saying? Before I end the class, Kanaka, you got any question? Okay. Before I end the class, I want to give a big ups to a brother that we lost, precinct officer of 5,000, Karab. Salakis, somebody at the door. I don't know who that is. But yeah, I want to big ups to a brother that we lost, precinct officer 5,000, Karab, out of Killeen. He was an excellent brother, amazing brother. He was always a smile was always on his face, you know what I'm saying, whenever he was around. And whenever you're around him, he always brought joy to us. He always made you feel like you was a special brother, you know what I'm saying? You could have been a trooper, could have been a young man. I met him when I was a young man. No, I met him when I was a trooper. And the brother encouraged me to be the best priest I could be. He gave me all type of uplifting words. I didn't get to meet him. I didn't get to know him as personally as the brothers in Killeen and some brothers who've been in the truth longer than me. But from the experience that I had with the brother, it was always brotherhood. He was always laughing. He was always smiling, encouraging brothers, you know what I'm saying? Telling brothers that they was the flyest thing on earth, and it was in all black. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give a big ups to the brother. We lost the brother. We got the news about losing the brother today, and it was a hard day, but that was the point of this class. There's a proper way to grieve and an improper way to grieve. The improper way to grieve will be to sit in the pain and never teach again, never come to class again, and fall about the truth. The proper way to grieve is to suffer, to cry together, allow ourselves to mourn and allow ourselves to hurt and be there for one another whenever we are hurting, while we're hurting. And then when the grieving is over, the mourning is over, we get up, we wipe our tears, we pick each other up off the ground, and we go back to doing this work, continuing doing the work that brother loved to do. All right, with that, this is the ISUPK, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. This has been Thursday night scripture breakdown class. Slack, you got the announcements?
Oh, yeah, come on.
All right, now pass the class off to Priest and Officer Kanaka.
These are the ISPK security announcements. We had an ISPK start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. A rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister come to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment, found in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashra, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to treasury department or teacher, priest fund, free will offer for priests, not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, the Feast of Purim will be on March 2nd through the 3rd, Monday and Tuesday, found in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verses 20 to 31. If anyone wants to be a trooper in school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. That meant Israel. Imagine. We're gonna give the brothers one courtesy salute. Imagine Shabbat. Imagine. Rock. Yahweh, but Shem Yahweh Shabbat. Yaki Matah. Blessings.